Okay. Okay. I can see my audio on the screen. I can't hear me in my headphones. So, just before I start going off on whatever the fuck I'm gonna go off on, just hit me in the chat real quick if you can hear me to make sure. Because I can't hear me and it's irritating. It's terrifying. After all this shit, I can't hear myself. Cast a Spell Society Ejects, good to see y'all in the chat, man. I got a nice show for y'all today. Okay, as long as y'all can hear, because I can see the audio levels. You gotta take this thing out my fucking ear then. I'm gonna just talk shit. I can see the audio levels on my screen. So I know you can hear. I just gotta remember, make sure I don't mute. Alright. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Shitstorm. I'm your host, Aries Bookman. It's Monday morning. I'm gonna have my way with it. I got some good shit planned for y'all today. Cast a Spell Society Ejects, appreciate y'all. Early presents. Ryan Morrow, Misha X, both of y'all in the building as well. Good to see y'all. Yeah, today's gonna be fun. This is actually an impromptu episode. I'm not gonna be able to hear. I'm gonna have to play it over here. I'm gonna have to switch some things up because for some reason my streaming thing isn't giving me audio. I can get audio anywhere else on my computer, but not there. Anyways, I have my ways around it because I'm the realest nigga in the world. Lucis Bay, good to see you in the chat. Let's go, sir. We're here for the storm. So today, what I'm going to be talking about is the relationship between law and the occult side of law, specifically commerce. Okay, and this is my reason for doing this. I should play my intro first because I'm going to rant. Yeah, I should play my intro first. All right. Just a second. Enjoy. Smooth. Malik, good to see you in the chat, man. Boy, ready out here in the storm, zen-like. Shit, what the fuck's going on? All right. So, as I'm talking, I'm gonna be fixing this up because I'm about to hit it a little different. I'm gonna have to, head ass nigga. Damn it. I can run it that way and then go this. Look, cause that's yeah. I'm gonna have to finagle it, but it's gonna be wonderful. Anyways, this is why I'm talking about what I'm talking about today. It was an impromptu episode. I had a conversation with somebody, sprinkled in a little bit of law, and not to mention somebody else posted the audio from this video, and I was like, well, I got the video. And so I was like, okay, I can talk about this. Law and the occult, okay? Remember, the word occult, people love to say it means hidden culture, and they love to break it down like they came up with that shit. No, I'm not going to tell you it means hidden culture, okay? Because the word hidden has the implication of somebody's action, someone else's intention. All right. Occult is dealing with the unapparent. Even the prefix in the word "oc" is relative to ocular. Okay, it's about sight. It's about seeing, not your eyes. What's perceptible. Okay, so occult is dealing with the unapparent side of things. Okay, most of you would consider yourself law-abiding citizens. You know, and that's wonderful, that's fine. I'm not going to tell you what you need to do or how you need to do it. But I just want to point out the things that you don't realize about what's in front of you. Because that's consistently my point. You know, niggas is always looking for some new thing they got to go out here and be doing. And it's not a new thing to do. It's the re-examination of what you've been doing. Honestly. You know, niggas, well, I want to ascend to the heavens and, you know, be completely lucid. And I'm like, okay, well, let go of your bullshit. What do you mean? This isn't me. No, it's not. And that's the whole point. That's the whole point. But this may be new information for some of you. I'm not gonna say I would hope not, but I'll say this: if this is new information to you, you're way behind. And this is just physical world shit, bro. Like I'm not even in between. I'll do that. I'll take it to new places, but bro, this is physical world stuff. Gerald, good to see you in the chat, man. All right, like shit you don't know about the shit you think you know about. Whatever. Quit being a dick. All right, here's where I'm gonna do it. Let's run it. Let me see what I get. It's caught a few L's immediately. All right, bet. I can hear that. You can't hear it because I don't have the desktop audio on. And you can't see it because I have to put it on here. Bet. All right, let me pause this. Let me pause this. All right, sorry. Should be a lot more streamlined. I'm looking like your boy out here, but it's okay. There we go. All right. Here, let's do this. Okay, this is what we're gonna do. I'm about to start this up right now. Let me start this video all the way at the end. You'll have to bear with me slightly. Excuse me, I'm not Fox News. It's gonna be wonderful though. So yeah, this is new information for you. You're way behind and there's plenty more for you to learn. But you need to embrace that. Like a lot of folks, they do the fake humble thing where it's like, oh, I don't really know anything. But you sitting here steady trying to give niggas hints about something you claim you don't know. Just chill out, man. You want to be the new spooky nigga on the block, tell niggas what occult means as if you just always knew. Nigga, chill out, shut up. Okay, anyways, I'm sorry. I'm being a dick. All right, here we go. Oh.
Again, when we talk about law, there's a Roman maximum in law that says, for he that would be deceived, let him. Simply meaning, if you are so ignorant as to be deceived, then that's your business, that's your problem. So you need to do your homework and find out what the words mean, especially in relation to law and government. Because there is a world of occultism that is operating today throughout the world, in which you use certain words, and when those words are used in a court, they don't mean the same thing at all. Understanding law and the words of law, there are two things that this planet has: water and earth, water and land. Consequently, there are two kinds of law: the law of the land and the law of water. You've heard the term law of the land, but in point of fact, that's precisely what this word means, law of the land, because it is the people who live on land. And that is opposed to something else called the law of the high seas, or the law of water. You need to understand the difference. The law of the land is the law of the culture that lives on the land. And so consequently, the law of the land is different in every country. You can do things in America you can't do in Russia. You can do things in Africa you can't do in England. So the law of the land is the law of the culture that lives on that particular land. However, there is a higher law that dominates the entire world. It's called the law of the water, or the law of the high seas. The law of water is referred to as the law of money. It doesn't matter what color you are, where you're from, or where you live. Money is money. And anytime you're doing banking or using money, you are now under the law of water, maritime admiralty. If you go back in history, in ancient history, where all of this began, back in the land of Canaan, and you probably have heard in the Bible, the land of Canaan. The Canaanites were Phoenician bloodline, and in the ancient Phoenician language, Cana meant merchant banker. The very word merchant comes from mer, M-E-R, for the sea, for water. As a mermaid, we have merchant. Merchant bankers. Let me give an example of the difference between the law of water and the law of the land. The law of water, as I said, is a law of banking, money, as opposed to the law of the custom of the people or the law of the land. The Statue of Liberty must be put in water. It could not be put on American land as such. It had to be put in the harbor because it's not the Statue of Freedom. It's a Statue of Liberty. Liberty is what a sailor gets when he pulls into port on a ship. He gets liberty. He's not free. So America is not the land of the free and the home of the brave. We're not free or brave, period. We're not free. This is not a free country.
Okay, boom. I could hear, you could hear, we could see. Beautiful. All right. One of the reasons, I'm going to talk about some of the stuff we just talked about. Also, Aaliyah Dawson, good to see y'all in the chat. Welcome to the show. I see you said admiralty law. Let's see, how much do you know? Because look, man, almost don't count unless it's horseshoes or grenades. Unless it's those two, almost ain't enough. Having a little dabbling of it, like a lot of motherfuckers do this shit and they dabble. You know, this is a little interesting. I'm gonna have a taste of this. And then they show it off at niggas at parties. Hey, nigga, you know, this is what I do. Show niggas one picture on your phone. Let's stop. Anyways, because the details are what makes the difference. I say this about everything. I don't say this about everything. I say this about metaphysics specifically and the occult. The details make all the difference, all right? If you don't know what you're looking at, you don't see anything. So it don't matter if all this shit is right in front of your face, all right? It's your ignorance that's the issue. It's always been the issue here. You know, but it's not a thing to run away from having ignorance. You have to acknowledge it. You have to delineate it, define it, deify it, if you will, okay? I talk about law because this is a corporeal level of the same fucking system you guys want to talk about, where, you know, what you've done to yourself in law is the same thing you've done to yourself spiritually. Because people like to call the physical world a prison. You know, it's a prison if you can't get out. And if you admit you can't get out, what the fuck is it that you are that could be imprisoned? You want to sit here and say, I'm the highest, I'm everything, I'm all of this? Okay, well, I'm not going to tell you you're not. But then how the fuck is this a prison? It's not a prison. What are you agreeing to? What are you agreeing to? Contract is law. Contract makes law, okay? That's when I say contract is law, it's a bit facetious, but it's so close. It's so close, okay? Contract makes the law. All right, whatever's in the contract is the law. Law of the sea versus law of the land. Yes, law of the sea versus law of the land. Law of people versus money. You know, motherfuckers don't talk about people no more. You know, what's a person? You know, what's the plural of person? Motherfuckers would think it's people, but it's persons. You know, Constitution for the United States of America begins with we the people, then people ain't mentioned no more. You know, because there's a completely different thing. The details, every word you say invokes something, not just in law, in everything. In everything. That's why I hate niggas who, it's whatever you want to call it. No, don't get caught up in the semantics. Well, how you getting caught up, nigga? You must can't dance. Fuck you mean? Words matter. Words are symbols, all right? They're phonetic symbols. And a symbol is a handle for thought, all right? I'm not going to get into what symbols are. I can feel myself rolling down the triggered hill. Contract is law, so the agreement is the contract. Um, yeah, the agreement is the contract. I was dancing on the details of that. The agreement is the contract. But you gotta understand what you're agreeing to. What are the details? What are the fine print in that shit you said? Motherfucker gonna ask me some shit like, how do I self-deify my melanin so that the vibration rises appropriately all the way to my 33rd vertebrae? Like what? Okay, I'm not gonna tell you you're wrong. I think that's complete bullshit. But even if that's the case, what did you invoke? What jurisdiction did you invoke with each and every word that you mentioned there? What jurisdiction did you invoke with each and every word you mentioned there? What are you agreeing to? That's the thing. Because once again, he talked about the legal maxim. Let he who will be deceived be deceived. It is no one, your ignorance is no one else's responsibility. There's even another maxim. Ignorance of the law is no excuse. So if you don't know what it is you're agreeing to, that's not an excuse. It's not an excuse. Especially if you're benefiting from it. Okay? Especially if you're benefiting from it. Your ignorance is your issue. It's not, oh, they hiding this, they trying to, and they want to, and them out there, no. It's your dumb ass. It's your dumb ass. Motherfuckers will say the government doing this, the government doing that. You don't know what none of that shit means. You don't know what any of the stratifications of that shit is, which is why all you can do is say the government. But it's all public knowledge. You can look it up anywhere. Like part of the reason motherfuckers can do the shit have you agreeing for servitude, because it's voluntary servitude. Involuntary servitude was outlawed. If involuntary servitude is illegal or against the law, different things. If involuntary servitude is against the law, what's left? Voluntary servitude, where you can sign up for it. If you have unlimited capacity to contract however you want, you certainly have the capacity to contract yourself into slavery. And the only thing that would keep you there is your ignorance. See, niggas don't need change no more. You don't need a whip. Your ignorance. Your ignorance. Niggas want to, let's say the white man was gone tomorrow. Niggas is ready, oh, the melanin is back and it's time. Okay, go ahead. What are you going to do? What do you need to create? Because right now, all you got is a bunch of niggas who think they know something. Do you know how a state is composed? Do you know the basics of an economy? And not even just the basics. I'm talking about global shit. You motherfuckers want your mangoes and your avocados. You need some global shit. Fuck you talking about, man? The law of the land and the law of the sea. What are you agreeing to? You know, what's going on around the world? What is the matrix you say you're living in? Because most people want to call the physical world the matrix. This ain't a prison, bro. It's not a prison. But this United States of America, this experiment in democracy, because look, how do you turn a republic into a monarchy? You niggas don't even know government. Well, I can't wait till the white man falls. Shut the fuck up. How do you turn a republic into a monarchy? With a democracy. With a democracy. Democracy ain't mentioned nowhere in your constitution. Niggas is, I'm ready to vote. Or what's the alternative? Man, nigga, I don't vote. That shit's stupid. Or what you gonna do? What else could you do? It's your ignorance. That's the thing. Let me continue, bro. Let me continue. Hold on. My ignorance is my agreement to illusion. Yeah, ignorance is bliss. It's delicious. It feels so good and it's easy. And you know, usually if you're the right kind of person, motherfuckers will give you a pass for it. You know, they're supposed to be ignorant. You know, it's just fine. Especially, God, the great whore. You motherfuckers have no idea. Anyways, let me continue. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it.
Now let me give you an example of how this law of the water works. Why is it that you have to go to court? People are always concerned about going to court. You go to court because you play basketball and tennis on a court. How do you play tennis on a court? You play with a racket. Why? 'Cause that's what it is. It's a racket. And make no mistake, they do not pick words by chance. These words are very serious. They do not use words in terms with no avail. These words are very important. When you go into a court, what's the idea of going to court? It's a game, like basketball. The whole idea in a court is to put the ball back in the other guy's court. One team gets up and they throw the ball over to that team of lawyers. That team gets up and throws the ball back into their court. And consequently, it's a ball game. And the judge is wearing a black robe, so he is the referee. The judge is the referee. He doesn't care which side wins or loses because he's going to get paid anyway. So he couldn't care less. He's merely there as a referee, and that's why he wears a black robe. And that's another interesting subject we can get into later. But the judge is a referee between two teams. The judge, we are told, rules from the bench. The word bench in Latin is a bank. Therefore, the judge rules for the bank. Where do you find banks? You find banks on both sides of a river. They're called river banks. And what does a river bank do? It directs the flow of the current. See, the juice. Consequently, your money is currency because it's the flow, the cash flow. And I'll give you an example of how this works. When a ship pulls into a harbor, all ships are referred to as female. Airships, rocket ships, sailing ships are always female. Why? There's a very good reason. Maritime Admiralty banking law says all ships are female because they're carrying items for money, and so consequently they are under Maritime Admiralty law. Admiralty is where we get the word admiral, admiral of the Navy. Let me give you an example of how this works. When a ship pulls into a harbor, it parks at the dock and it ties off at the dock. The captain has to provide for the port authorities a certificate of manifest because yesterday the ship was not here, but this morning the ship pulled in, so it has manifested. So consequently, all the products, the $800 million worth of TVs or Toyotas, have manifested. So each one of those items coming off of that ship has come off of water.
It could all be so simple. It could all be so simple. Who else in all this occult spiritual shit is telling you about law? Nope. They're telling you to be mindful and breathe. Eat your chakra vegetables and do something with light. It's your ignorance about the world around you that is your issue. It always has been. What else could it be? What is ignorance? What is ignorance? It don't mean that you're stupid. It means you're lacking knowledge. Ignorance is the precursor to knowledge. You got to not know before you know. If you're going to go through a process of coming to know something, ignorance is implicit. And you don't want to look dumb. I want to come to you and ask a question because I'm scared I'm going to look dumb. I want to feel like I'm dumb. Boy, you already in dumb. Fuck you talking about. You already in dumb. Nah, man, chill out, bro. That don't feel good. I don't like that. Chill out, bro. No, you in dumb. You in dumb. Be there. Be that nigga who's in dumb. As a matter of fact, before I forget, boot camp is back. Boot camp is back. Let me just tell y'all how you can go fuck with this shit right now. Cause I'd have told y'all niggas to check out the website. You ain't do it. You ain't do it. I know, it's cool. You know, just don't lie to me about the fact that you ain't do it, bro. That's my only request. Here, let me switch the screen real quick. Yeah, do my thing, man. Boom. All right, here's the website. Here, let me go to. Gonna make it small or whatever the fuck. But I'm not. Well, no one else out here has the capacity to add this in to what they're teaching you. No one else has the capacity. Period. Okay. There's so much that niggas don't get, and just going to somebody who's gonna tell you you're the gods, your melanin is shining, you know, snap, snap. That ain't what none of this is about. Okay, so if you're ready to get to work, we can get to work. And even if you never work with me again, I guarantee you, the shit I'm gonna put you on, if you do it, I'm telling you, you're going to be leagues ahead of anyone else you fuck with. Any group you go to. Bro, I'm telling you, like, Kelvin, this man, just after the stuff he fucked with me on, he's going to other groups. He's impressed with them. Like, oh, you guys must really do this shit. And he get in there, just off the little he got from me, leagues ahead of him. They impressed with him. He don't even realize it. Anyways, you want to get to this shit for real. You want to get to work. You want to get somebody who actually knows what they're gonna do and not just gonna rub you on your back or your chest or whatever. I rub your titty. Yeah. Damn it, professionalism. anyways, let me get back to this. Because this is some serious shit for me. All right. What do I got? Boom. Looks like that. Okay. You got the audio. All right. He went over this the idea because again, it's what you're agreeing to. Okay. You got the land. You got the law of the land and the law of the sea. Okay. They go hand in hand. They go hand in hand. All right. People need money. Money needs people. Otherwise, there's nothing going on. All right. If you want to talk the Matrix stuff, okay, you're being made into a battery. All right, that's part of the reason you got all this. It's experiment in democracy. It's a huge penal colony. What's going on, Looney? Louie, sorry to call this nigga Looney. That's funny. What's going on, Looney? Good to see you in the chat. And I want to make this clear. I want to make this clear right now. The shit I'm giving you here, you having heard it, don't mean you on game. Not at all. Not at all. I would need to go. Even if I went for a few days with the same live stream, it wouldn't even be enough. You have no idea how ignorant you are. And that's your issue, because you're impressed with knowing more than a dead nigga about nothing. Niggas just know how to repeat what somebody else told them. Occult really means hidden culture. How you come to that, bruh? How you come to that? Well, I mean, really, it just says culture. No, it doesn't. Occult. Bruh. See, niggas don't know what they're talking about. And no one has to know, because everyone gets to be right, and you just go to your little group and circle jerk with people. Whatever the fuck. Anyways, you want to get into some of the occult side of this law stuff, all right? You go to court. Before you go to court, what happens? You're summoned, aren't you? Remember, what are you agreeing to? You agreed to this. You're summoned. You're summoned. You walk into a room full of people you've never met before, and you assume you know what's going on because of television. You assume you know what's going on because a nigga you know went up there and said, I can't wait to get it down. Just like, look, what you think is Judge Mathis? Fuck out of here. You're summoned. Like, you walk into the room, well, what looks like a room, because there's multiple rooms in one room. Everybody over there in the little box, y'all in your own little box. You ever seen one of those rooms that got like a half wall? Where it looks like it? Because here's the thing. Let's say you're summoning a demon, right? Let's say you're summoning a demon. And you look out into the vastness of existence. And you call it out. Beelzebub! Beelzebub! You know, you gotta do a little spooky, right? And after you call and you summon it, It appears. That's what the fuck you do. Somebody sitting up there in the room, you don't know none of you. Just call out a name. Beelzebub, Julie Peterson. And you agree. And you agree. And it makes common sense to agree. It makes common sense to agree. It's like it's the details. Remember what I said? Like if you had a king named King, if I said what's it like to be king? If you had a king who was named King, am I talking about the position or the person? You know, and see, we're getting into persons. Like, what's a person versus a people? What are you agreeing to when you walk in? What is it? What's the nature of the predicament? It's like you said, you walk into court. There's a game being played. You know, you walk in and you playing checkers, and these niggas playing chess. Matter of fact, you thought you just gonna come watch TV, and these niggas is playing chess, and you wonder why you lose. And you wonder when you lose, you always pay. It's a bank. It's a bank. But you know, like I'm telling you, you listening to me about this ain't gonna be enough. You have to embrace how ignorant you are. And not just, well, damn, I'm ignorant. I guess I'm gonna just float. No. No. You are your problem. You and your ignorance. Well, it's not really all me. I mean, it's kind of a little bit. No. No. Let he who will be deceived be deceived. It is no one else's responsibility. No one else has the, what's the word? Obligation. There we go. No one else has the obligation to it but you. But fuck me, right? It's about money. It's about money. And see, now what do you even think? What do you even think when you think money? What is money? Because we've been talking about currency here in banks. What is money? And why does what you think money is make it money? I'll say it again. Why does what you think money is make it money? Like, what about it makes it money? Why is that Federal Reserve note called a dollar? Digital numbers. That's bookkeeping. That's accounting. That's ledgering. Like, you know, you got your $1 bill. Your $1 bill. Why would it even be called a dollar? That's a fancy name. You know, it sounds like money, don't it? A dollar is a measurement of silver. Those what they are is a Federal Reserve note. Why was gold and silver good as money? Oh, because I can take it and I can make a jewelry, or I can make a thing and and you can really do that. No. That's not why gold and silver were good. It's why they're better than paper, maybe. But it's not why they made perfect currency. They made perfect currency because they were property. Gold and silver was your property. Whose property is that piece of paper? It's right there on the front. It's right there on the front. Whose property is that fucking piece of paper? I have to now. It's funny to me. Not because I'm laughing at you. I'm laughing at the nigga I used to be who didn't see it. Fuck you. You ain't gonna see it unless you want to see it. Boom. It took me all the way there. And I'm gonna show this one because niggas will be up in their own ass. Why would a nigga ever pay $3 for $1? Head ass nigga. I'm gonna tell you. Fuck you talking about. I'm gonna tell you. Why would a nigga pay $3 for $1? Property of the Fed, the Federal Reserve. Yeah. See, and I think it's terrible to call it a Fed because the United States is a federal government. And so it gives the impression that what you're talking about is a government entity. You know, niggas don't know corporations. Niggas don't know business. All niggas know is get the bag. Where the money at? Fuck up. Anyways. Symbolism. If you don't know what you're looking at, you don't see nothing. You can have it in your pocket all day. You can deal with it all day. You can tell niggas you gonna go get it. If you don't know what you're looking at, you don't see nothing. Fuck you mean. Dollar's green, right? Dollar's green, right? The backside is green. Front side ain't green. There's some green on it. There's green on it, but the back side is green. I told you, walk into a room full of boxes. Look at the boxes. Look at the boxes. Every time you fill out an application and apply, what does it mean to apply? You're agreeing, you're volunteering. Anyways, there's green on the front. Look at what side which things are on. Look at that number on there. And it's only gonna work on the $1 bills. Go get your social security number. I mean, social security card. Turn it on the back. That red number is one of those. On the $1 bill. What are you agreeing to? They even tell you on the card. Look at the same card. It's not identification. It don't belong to you. But what do we do with it? Identify with it. It's federal crime to ask somebody to do that. You can look it up. Fuck me, right? Fuck me. Look it up. We love for money. Yeah, it's not money that's the root of all evil. It's the love of money that's the root of all evil. Why is this money? What about it makes it money? And look, for anybody who drafts their own documents, I'm about to get back to the video. Anybody who drafts their own documents, look at where things are placed on here. Look, what I told you, there's some green on it. It's on this side. Oh God, I can't punch in the big picture. It's on, bruh, they keep making me do that. Well, you can see where my mouse is. It's on the right side. The green's over here. What's on the top? What's on the bottom? What's this one? What are you being shown? What are you being shown? What does it mean to be on the right side versus the left side? Usually you get a document from a legal place. Most of it's going to be on this side. You ever seen documents with shit in the center? Well, if you can have it on the left and the center, what's it mean to be on the right side? It's like, I'm just saying, it's because I know if you don't know what you're looking at, you don't see nothing. And it can be in your face all day, and you'll just be like, hey man, I'm out here, I'm doing it because I know Jesus wasn't a white man with wavy hair. Like, you niggas are so basic and typical. Anyways, let's continue. Being ruled by opposites. What you mean, Louis, being ruled by opposites? All right, let me get back to it.
And consequently, the captain presents a certificate of manifest. The ship is sitting in its berth. Wherever a ship sits when it docks is called its berth. She sits in her berth, berthing a ship. Consequently, all the items, as I said, coming off that ship represent money. They came in on water. They are maritime admiralty product. And this is true all over the world. Now, when you were born, your mother's water broke. And when your mother's water broke, you came out. And this is why you have to have a birth certificate, because you are a maritime admiralty product under international law. You are considered, your body is considered a maritime admiralty product. Your mother delivered you. This is why if you go to Sears and buy a refrigerator, they will ship it to you. They will deliver it. And that's why you were in your delivery room. Your mother was delivering a product. Maritime admiralty, you came down your mother's birth canal. And once you, and as you're taking one of the televisions or the cars off the ship and it falls down and breaks, that's all right. Sometimes they're stillborn, so consequently you've lost money on that one. Therefore you have to have a death certificate, and it's always signed by the doc. The doc has to sign your birth certificate and your death certificate. All of these words and terms are maritime admiralty banking words. And therefore, if you understand lawyers and judges and courts and government are all under international maritime admiralty law. All religions, all churches in the world operate under maritime law. You need to understand that, in one last point I'm going to make before I introduce your speaker, that In 1868, there was a corporation founded. Anyone can incorporate a company. Well, in 1868, there was a company incorporated. And in that particular company, the founders of that company they referred to it as the United States Corporation. And they stipulated that anybody who would be a member of that corporation or work for that corporation would be called not an employee, but a citizen. So today, if you are asked, are you a citizen of the United States? What you think you're being asked is, are you lawfully in this country to do business? That's not lawfully what's being asked. They didn't ask if you're in America lawfully. They asked you a specific question. Are you, of your own volition, out of your own mouth, testifying that you are a citizen of the United States? Because in that way, citizen of the United States means you are an employee of a foreign corporation operating on the international maritime law. So today, the President of the United States is the president of a privately owned company. The company is called United States. And the word president is always a word that is used in corporate law. Banks have presidents. All companies have presidents. So there's a corporation called United States, privately owned, and it has a president. President Bush is not the president of America. President Bush is the president of a privately owned company. Privately owned, out of England. And you need to understand words and terms.
Dawson says citizenship. Yeah, right. Citizenship, friendship. And he said vessels are all female. It was because of maritime or admiralty law. No. And see, once again, because bruh, this occult shit, this some people will say pagan shit, okay? And this is why the elites get marked as demonic. You know, Christianity is a slave religion. It's literally a slave religion. It's a religion for slaves. Like, how you not the chosen people in your own religion? But it's supposed to be that way, though. Okay, this is my point. What are you agreeing to? What are you agreeing to? How are you framing your reality? What do you think is going on? It's like, bro, the United States is not the same thing as the United States of America. Yeah, I just say United States. What? Unless you had all this history about the United States, I just said two words: United and States. United States of America is something different. You know, motherfuckers don't know corporate law. Don't know anything about how a corporation is set up. It's your ignorance. It always has been. It goes for the spiritual shit too. It's your ignorance. All of it is in your face. You deal with it all the time. There's no special place you need to go. There's no special thing you need to do. It's what have you been doing? What are you continuing to do? What's her name? Dorothy and the Wizard of Oz. She could have gone home anytime. Click, click on them shoes. What'd she do? Run around the yellow brick road. Run around with them dumbass motherfuckers. The straw man, birth certificate, the Tin Man, the SSN number, the cowardly lion, your agreement, the scarecrow, the birth certificate, or the straw man. Motherfuckers say Julie. If I named the corporation Julie and Julie walk her ass in there and I say I'm looking for Julie, and then the person stands up, what did you agree to? Because look, if somebody sued Coca-Cola, Coca-Cola can't walk its ass in there. Somebody representing Coca-Cola does. So you come in there, I don't give a damn what your name is. You must be representing this other corporation, this Julie. What are you agreeing to? Well, I'm telling you, like there's a reason your name's in all caps when it comes in the mail. Like you can look at the rest of the letter. They got upper and lowercase on the rest of the letter. Why is it always that way on there? What's a license? What is a driver's license? What does it mean to drive? You got niggas calling it a car and a truck. Those are commercial terms. Like carriage and trucking. It's not an automobile. That's something completely different. What does it mean to drive? Like a driver. That's a commercial term. You're working for hire. If you agree that what you're doing is commerce, if you agree that that's the case, then that's what it is. Human experience, my ass. You niggas outside your goddamn mind. I'm telling you. Rafikael, your area is peace, love, and the conversation. Hey man, stick around, bro. Look, today, I'm just trying to point out things you don't know and how big the ignorance is on a physical level. Niggas is trying to jump in. Oh, I want to figure out the metaphysical. No. Slow down. You need to get in touch with how ignorant you actually are, because you don't feel it yet. You're still impressed with yourself. You're like, I'm out here doing it, man. I be studying, and me and my folk, we talk about it, and shit, niggas really knew what we... Shut up. I don't care if you talk to the great mother. Big fucking whoop. What the fuck ain't connected to that? Typical. And you think that's impressive because a Christian don't know nothing about it. Let's stop. What are you agreeing to? The same thing you've done to yourself in this legal, the same thing you've done to yourself legally. That's how I want to say it. The same thing that you've done to yourself legally is the same thing you've done to yourself spiritually. You've diminished your capacity of your own volition. You've diminished your capacity of your own volition, and the evidence is in your agreements. You see, motherfuckers will say because they put your name on a birth certificate and now your body is their property. No, it's a piece of paper. Dorothy didn't need the straw man to go home. What's a straw man? It's a scarecrow. It's a thing you put inside or put out as a scapegoat, as opposed to the thing you're actually looking at. That's actually the subject matter. Okay, it's a straw man. The name is the mark of the beast. The name is the mark of the beast. Not that name. It's to name anything is to mark it and make it a beast. That's why the Council of Nicaea, the question was whether or not Christ was God or was a creation, i.e. a beast. See, y'all niggas don't even look up the words. Stop thinking you already know because you ran away from Jesus. I'm telling you, it could all be so simple. Dorothy didn't need the Tin Man to get out of fucking Oz. All right, now you got a number. God names his children, Satan numbers them. You got a number. Know the number by heart. I know you do because I do. Fuck you mean? You know it by heart. You don't need to tattoo it on your arm. Oh, look at the Jews there. You just got a tattoo. You got a number 2. And you can't do nothing that you would want to do or think to do without it. Don't even know how it works, but you got it. Boy, that sound like a nigga on a slave plantation. Don't know nothing about how the word work. But I just know what I'm supposed to do. Well, you got to fill out this form here, sir. This is the one you do. I said, no, I said, been doing it now. But what are you agreeing to? It's the same thing, the same way you're diminishing your capacity. You're agreeing to fill in that role. You're doing it here. You're doing it with this physical world shit. It's the same thing. How can it possibly not be understood that it's the same thing? I'm talking about diminishing capacity. Let me talk about the lion. Because it's the lion is your silence, your acquiescence. The cowardly lion. The king of the jungle got the power to roll all that shit. But he's scared. He don't know. He ain't sure. What's the difference between a republic and a democracy? I know niggas put the shit up there. Niggas will put the post up there. Oh yeah. Oh, that's a great question. Really? What's the difference? Like I said, if you want to turn a republic into a monarchy, you use a democracy. Republic. Each and every person has the complete power to move and mold the government. Democracy, mob rule. Monarchy, king rule. Because now niggas don't know what a president is. My president is black. My Lambo blue. Niggas are slaves. Yeah, me too. Fuck you talking about, bars? Y'all niggas need to sign me. Fuck you talking about. Nah, man, it's the ignorance. A president is a position in a corporation. Not because I'm saying it. Not because There's plenty of evidence, and that's the shit. See, this is why the birth certificate and the social security number and your silent acquiescence is an issue. Because it's the evidence. You have no evidence to the contrary, and that's your issue. You wouldn't even know what evidence looked like aside from the shit that's chaining you. The shit you're agreeing to. The thing is unbound in the same manner by which it is bound. Exactly. Exactly. That's a maxim of law. See, who else gives you this shit, y'all? Fuck you mean? Like, real shit, after I finish this season, I don't know how many more lives I'm gonna do, bruh. I got enough content to make short form content for years now. Like, what the fuck? Cause niggas ain't gonna make a difference anyway. Who the fuck else get it to you like this? Nobody, cause they can't. And remember that. Anyways, it's your agreement to it, bro. All right, I don't care what they made on a piece of paper. I don't care what number they've used. I don't care what I've done in the past. What am I agreeing to now? What is it that you are? See, a motherfucker, you go in there, hey, where do you live? 123 Main Street Road. What did you just agree to? What was the thing you invoked? There's a difference between a street and a road. What street you live on? What street you live on? What street is that on? What's a street? It's a commercial term. It's a place of business. It's very different from a road. The words you know. Did I say regularly scheduled programming? Human is the goddamn lie. Any fucking movie or television show you watch, oh God, they look at the chocolate colors. They're really trying to show you. No, it's human. It's human where you learn the words of your own enslavement. You put your child in front of it. You sit in front of it. And you don't question the words. I know because I've done it too. It's the listening. You got to be able to listen to words. It's a hearing. You go in there, it's a fucking hearing. Why? Because the shit you're seeing don't make a difference. It's the record. The record. The record. You'll have times you're doing this shit, bro. Because this is another thing. Motherfuckers think that, okay, I'm supposed to know it, and as soon as I say it, everything just gonna bend to my will. No. You got to fight for it. Fuck you mean? You gotta fight for it. Why the fuck would the master just let a slave walk the fuck out because the slave said, I ain't a slave no more? Fuck you. Prove it. See, it's not about what's right or what's wrong. It's what can you prove. It's what can you prove. It's not what's right or wrong. It's what can you prove. If the glove don't fit, you must quit. If the glove don't fit, you must quit. That's for you, Johnny. I'm telling you, bruh. Y'all niggas talking about the Matrix. You giving these motherfuckers the cosmos. And they are not involved in the cosmos like that. Chill out. It is right here. It is corporeal. It is your ignorance. This is basic stuff. Anybody tell you what a bank is when they tell you go get money? Get money. Get the bag. Fuck out of here. Fuck out of here. And see, bro, this is the tip of the iceberg. I promise you. I promise you. It's the tip of the iceberg. I live where I stand. Exactly, Rafik. Exactly, bro. But see how many people got enough chest to go in there and say it, and then they have six or seven sheriffs walk in and surround you. You still gonna say it? Because look, the devil gonna tempt you. Bro, when I say the Bible is public notice. When I say the Bible is public notice, it's the most prolific book on the planet. They tell you who they are. All these motherfucking politicians and government officials have websites, have a street address and a phone number. A street address and a phone number. All of them. They can't hide and do this. They're public servants. But see, this is the game. You place the chains lightly upon yourself that you might enslave your brother. You place the chains lightly upon yourself that you might enslave your brother. And not to mention, your brother's willing to sell away his birthright, Esau. Your brother's willing to sell away his birthright for a bowl of porridge, for benefits and privileges. Motherfuckers say, I know my right. What's a right? Well, it's not a left. That was funny. I'm sorry, that was funny. What's a right? It's correlative with duties. If you have a right, there's a duty somewhere as well. And the cowardly lion is I would say, is a symbol of not taking care of your own duty. Your silent acquiescence. Your own agreement to your ignorance. You could know. You could know. but you'd rather not take the time. Or it's not as worth it as them, 10 reels you could get on your phone. That was funny. Swipe up. That was funny. That was funny. 20 minutes later. That was a little funny. You got nothing. Got nothing. And it's your choice. You could spend the rest of every day of your life reading something you've never seen before. You don't. You don't have to do it for the rest of your fucking life. Spend a year doing it. But you won't. And that's no one else's fault. That's no one else's fault. You won't question it. You'll do what you've been shown. And you'll do it spiritually too. And that's my issue. That's where I'm really trying to come from this from. Like, fuck. If you don't know what you're looking at, you don't see nothing. Fuck me though. There we go. Thank you. Presumption. There's a standing presumption. You have to defeat the presumption. Like I said, you walk into a room of people you've never met. Thank you, Malika Society Ejects. Appreciate it. Donnie, I don't know if you helped. Like I said, you walk into a room full of people you've never met and assume you know what's going on. I want to talk to you about what's already going on in that room. Okay? There's a presumption present. A presumption. There's even a presiding judge. Because these things have already been set up before you walked into the room. That was the big significance of 1913 and 1933. Motherfuckers talking about, the creature from Jekyll Island. That was the significance from 1913 and 1933. Was establishing the presumption that everybody has agreed to be a U.S. citizen. So they don't even have to ask you no more. It's presumed. And there's enough evidence to presume it. The Bible can be your greatest tool of control either for you or against you. The straw man is referenced in the Bible. Leviticus. God does not respect persons. And then, the various government officials, especially the federal government, has been pushing, well, they already pushed and done it, to make corporations persons. And so you've already agreed to be one. But now you're on equal standing in corporation. So now basically all the shit that they were giving to the U.S. citizens, they're only giving it and established it so that when corporations come in, it goes to them. Fucking affirmative action and fucking women's rights. Anyways, like, that's what I'm saying. It's the whole thing. You think the government's on your side. The government's finally waking up. No, nigga, these niggas are putting you in a box. Like, finally women can go out and we can pay our own taxes. Finally gays can get married and we can get marriage tax benefits. You're getting smaller and smaller box. Whatever. Turning you into a battery and you're agreeing to it. That's the issue. And the physical world does the same thing. You talking about archons. You want to make it something that's hurting you. It's something you're agreeing to. No, I'm in prison and I can't get out, but I'm going to get out and I'm going to rise. No, you're agreeing to it. You could have always gone home, Dorothy. You're agreeing to it every step of the way. And your ignorance makes it easy.
Anyways, the world of admiralty that we're going to talk about today it's a concept and it's a philosophy. What the system, Jordan explained that there's two kinds of law in the world. There's civil law and there's the law of water and money. Well, we have our common law system where collective groups of people come together and they agree to follow particular behavioral patterns. However, the banking system, or the banksters or gangsters or whatever you want to call them, have collectively through thousands of years, have set up a situation where they can manipulate people to superimpose a legal system that is not based entirely on law, it's based on commerce. And so this artificial let's pretend construct has basically been superimposed over our law of our land. And as we'll get into it, I'll explain that, or I'll try to demonstrate further that we are not operating in a common law system anymore, although the common law is still here and we need to understand how to access it and how to use it to our advantage. But most people, unfortunately, are so ignorant of what the law is or what the codes are or what the statutes actually say and how they particularly apply to them. They just are used to functioning in a consensus reality that, oh, well, you know, at 18 or 16, everyone gets a driver's license, and, you know, when I work, everyone fills out a 1040 IRS tax form, or because he said, or because your parents said, or because your parents were particularly indoctrinated in a system where everyone is functioning perpetually in this let's pretend game.
The let's pretend game. The let's pretend game. What if it was all bullshit? What if all this shit was bullshit? What if all the legal shit was bullshit? And you walk in there and the only reason any of that shit matter is because you agreed to it. You'd have to know how you're agreeing. You'd have to know how you're agreeing. You have to know what different words meant and why things were said. You'd have to listen. And see, like I'm saying, bro, the same thing is your issue with spirituality. It's the exact same thing. You don't know how you're continuing to agree to it. And this is part of the reason I get you into the self-deification. This is why I'm getting you in connection to that non-physical self. Non-physical conception of self, excuse me. Because, look, if I got all the evidence that you're a U.S. citizen, and you have no evidence to the contrary, where do you even begin? If you have all the evidence that what you are is Jimmy. I'm Jimmy. Look at me, guys. I'm Jimmy. I'm a regular human. You know, all the legends. You got all the evidence that you're Jimmy. But just you want to say, I'm a god and I'm beyond all this. Okay, well, prove it. What's your evidence? And I give you, motherfuckers, the first piece of evidence you can establish. Your non-physical conception of self. I tell you how you can do it. I tell you why you do it. That's your first piece of evidence. And if you lean in with it, the rest of the evidence makes itself obvious. Because remember, what are you saying you are? I'm everything. I'm the Most High. I'm the Supreme. I'm all this shit. Okay, so where's the disconnect? Not to ask you to say, oh, I'm making a statement. Literally, where are you disconnected from that? It's not just in a feeling, in your knowing, in your how you know the world. That's the issue. How you know the world, how you frame things. Like I said, where do you live? What's your name? What's your name? What's a name? Is the person up there using a name? Is anybody else here using their name? Everyone else has a title. Why don't you have one? Well, they didn't give me one, bro. Why would they give you a title? Why would you even think to wait for someone else to give you your title? Like I said, why would you even think this? The answer to the question is, it's the ignorance. You don't know what else to think. I tell a motherfucker, you know, the physical world is an illusion, tap into the being of the non-physical self, and it's like, ooh, what's going on? Because you don't know what else to think. I get it. This is why you have to start thinking about your thinking. This is why you have to think about your thinking. You have to listen to yourself. You got to be the judge to the motherfucker. All the voices in your head you don't want to hear. Listen. 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 Because that shit is in between you and whatever the fuck else you say you want to do out here. All this ascension and enlightenment kind of shit. The process of enlightenment is an unfolding of your capacity to know, to notice, not to know, to notice, excuse me. Yeah, it's not about how much more you know. It ain't. It's about your capacity to notice. Because all this shit is already here. The world don't change. It's you that changes. You're being banked. You're living your life as a commercial product and don't even realize how it works. Why didn't they teach you it at school? What the fuck? What kind of stupid shit is that? Oh no, sorry. I'm being a dick. Why they don't teach you it at school? Because school is an arm of the state. It's the same thing. It's like churches are an arm of the state. But everywhere it is that dollar touch, they're all using the commercial agreements. Like, what is a corporation versus a trust? You know how many corporations go bust every year? Never heard of the concept of the great whore? It's the state. It's the corporate state. See, there's the metaphysical concept of the great whore. When we're talking here, when you're talking the Matrix, because this place isn't a prison, I keep telling you niggas. The physical world is not a prison. The state, yeah, this is fucking penal colony. The great whore is the corporate state. Anybody can go in there and do, I don't care who you are, you can come in, we're gonna get together. No civilization is like that. Anybody can come in, we can do whatever we want, however we want, whenever. It's said that Benjamin Franklin told a dude after the first Continental Congress that dude was like, oh, well, what kind of government did you give us? He said, a republic if you can keep it. How do you turn a republic into a monarchy? With a democracy. If you don't know what governments are, how can you say the government is doing anything? You don't know no types of government, how they act, how they interact, what the difference between them is, what significance they make. You just know the white man is bad. The government, it's ignorance. And it's ignorance you're agreeing to. Because instead of being a nigga who has something to say and ready to talk and let another nigga know, you could be like, well, damn, maybe I should shut up because I don't know enough about what I'm talking about if all I can say is the government. County jurisdictions, city jurisdictions, state jurisdictions, federal jurisdictions, international jurisdiction. What is jurisdiction? Juris and diction. Diction like dictionary, where you've dictated the lexicon of the language. Juris is pertaining to law. That's like the word jurisprudence. Okay, law where you can dictate law is jurisdiction. All right. There are different levels. There's time, space, place, and plane when it comes to law. And the physical world is no different. There is time, space, place, and plane when it comes to law. The physical world is no different. And so you don't even need a fucking title. You don't even need a title. What is you? What is you in relationship to somebody who you walk in that room and they're a public servant? They place the chains lightly upon themselves. Pull the chain. You can't even see the chain. What is you? What is your relationship to them? Like I tell you the analogy, you know, you're the highest person. Here you go. You're the highest, you're the king of the house, right? You're the king of the house. And your top servant, your head servant, the judge, your head servant, you tell him, hey man, I wanna be the janitor. I wanna be the lowest janitor actually, and I wanna work under everybody else in the house. He's your highest servant. As the king telling him, yes sir, yes sire, yes sire. You down here in a nasty jumpsuit, mopping the ground, talking about, man, this is terrible. Why don't they let us wait off of alpha more? Why don't they pay us more, man? This is awful. Nigga, what is you? How are you continuing to agree this? Because if that highest servant is a real nigga, if he's good at his job, he gonna treat you like the lowest janitor. Because that's his job. And he doing it right, it's not his fault. What are you agreeing to? You want to talk about, no, I want to go be the king now. We want to keep your jumpsuit. Nah. Put all them cleanest shits down, nigga. Matter of fact, you don't even know how to talk like the king. I put you in the throne. What the fuck you gonna do? It's what you're agreeing to. When you walk into that room, Everybody else is animating a position. That's why they have the title. They've been vested with power. Vested with power, like I can put on a vest. When I put on the vest, if the vest is what has power, it's not me. I can take off that vest and give it to someone else. This nigga's the governor. He's been vested with power. Now I say, no, you're not the governor anymore. You are. Now this nigga's been vested with power. Neither of them had the power. It was the position. It was the title. And the only reason they had the title of the power is because they put the chains lightly upon themselves. Here, I'll be a public servant. I'll agree to that. I'll work for you. Yes, sir, I'll be your highest servant. I'll serve the people. Of course. But then you walk in and agree to be his lowest servant. You come here. Human experience. It's a human experience. I know that's what it is. We're all having a human experience. I know you know. Dumbasses. What is human? It's a monster. It's the beast. Fuck me though, right? Here, let me tell you. Because I seen this video years ago. Years ago. I'm telling you, if this is the first time you're introduced to any of this information, you're way behind. You're way behind. I'm telling you. Okay.
So we're going to go into some definitions from the Law Dictionary. What these terms mean. Jordan says we need to take a look at words because we're word-controlled people, right? And I'm not making any of this up. If you look in Ballantines' Law Dictionary, a human being is a monster. So that's what, when you walk into court, this is how they're looking at you. Let's take a look at what monster says. A monster is a human being by birth, but in some part resembling a lower animal. A monster hath no inherent blood, and cannot be the heir to any land, albeit it be brought forth in marriage.
A monster hath no inheritable blood. You're all bastards. See, when I say she ain't for the street, she for the state, I'm not just being funny. I'm not just being literally. You're a bastard. And you're agreeing to it on so many different levels. There's so much evidence that you're creating against yourself. You're a bastard. You're a monster. You're an animal. You are cattle. Legal system and the physical world. Because you're agreeing to it. And you mostly continue to do that because of your own ignorance and your agreement to your ignorance. Ignorance is easy. Hath no inheritable blood and cannot be heir to any land. That's literally a slave. That is literally a slave. They can't inherit anything, most certainly not land. They are all bastards. It's literally a slave. Come on, tell me again how we having a human experience. Because ain't no fae out there to make you agree to that. I got another episode I'm going to do about the secrets of man, M-A-N. Not male or female, M-A-N. The secrets of man. Motherfuckers don't know you don't know what you're looking at. You don't know what you're looking at, but you think you know, and that's the problem. And this is corporeal shit that you deal with every day and think you know, and you don't. But you want to tell me, oh, I get all this spiritual shit. Video.
Okay, so what are we talking about here? Are we talking about a human being, which is in the law of admiralty or the law of banking, we're talking about a let's pretend game. Limited liability, no one taking responsibility for their actions. That's why we live in a corporate fascist system where everyone wants to incorporate and not take responsibility for what's going on. And this guy over here, the real you that's aware and functions in like a state of common law where it takes personal responsibility for everything he does. And, will make his wrongs right and everything. This guy, it's on a piece of paper only. That's the certificate of live birth. That's the B stroke 6. That's the let's pretend game. So if the construct that is law has two kinds of people. You know, in fact, the spiritual being isn't it. You won't find a spiritual being in a law dictionary, but you'll find the definition of a person. But peculiar enough, the definition of a person, they try to get you caught up with a natural person. But how do you define a word with its own word? That's a peculiarity in itself. So, person includes a natural person, a firm, a co-partnership, or an association, or a limited liability company or corporation. The entire essence of the let's pretend game is to get you to be one of these things, a corporation functioning in a state of fascism in a limited liability world, a let's pretend game where no one takes responsibility for their actions. And anyone heard of national debt? Or how about income tax? You know, all income tax does is go to pay national debt. It doesn't pay your streets. It goes to pay the national debt with the Federal Reserve. And the Federal Reserve came into act in 1913, and that's a whole story in itself. And the taxes that are generated as a result of using Federal Reserve notes, who collects that? The IRS. When were they started? The same year as the Federal Reserve, 1913. But guess where the IRS is based out of, guys? Puerto Rico. It's not even an agency of the United States government. You know, that's a whole story in itself. So,
like to say they tell you all the shit in the movies, right? The Pirates of the Caribbean. Who the real Pirates of the fucking Caribbean? It's a pirate. Why the Caribbean? I'm telling you. Right, it's a big slave colony. It's the experiment in democracy. Well, anybody can come and be a slave. Please, come do it. And niggas are run. You can outlaw involuntary servitude and niggas will sign up for it. Out of ignorance. It's the same predicament you have spiritually. Now, granted, there's nothing wrong with a corporation. Well, you got a business corporation, fine. You know, go ahead. But not knowing that you're being presumed to be a corporation and that you're agreeing to it. Not just simply that you're being presumed. Niggas can presume whatever the fuck they want to. What are you agreeing to? What do you have evidence for? What do you have evidence for? This is why I'm giving you the non-physical conception of self. Somewhere to stand aside from the shit you say is bullshit. Oh, the physical world is an illusion. It's not really real. It's not really going on. This stuff doesn't matter. Okay, cool. You say that, prove it. What else do you have that's not that? This is why what all this ends up reducing to yourself when you think about this spiritually. It's just yourself. Nothing else matters. And so you have the nihilistic narcissism. It's what you're agreeing to. It's what you're agreeing to. And you have the unlimited capacity to agree to anything, anytime. But ignorance of the law is no excuse. And so your ignorance will always be your hindrance. It's the ignorance that's the issue. Arius Morpheus, man, please. Well, if I am, y'all niggas ain't Neo. Fuck you talking about? Y'all niggas some nigga at the back of Zion cooking stew. Fuck you mean? Y'all niggas ain't Neo. Indentured servants. Well, not necessarily indentured servants. Voluntary servants. Because I mean, an indenture has an expiration date on it. You know, it's like a bond. But just plain voluntary servitude, you're only obligated to it so much as you continue to agree to it and benefit from it. See, you're taking benefits from it is proof of your agreement to it. God damn it, man. I'm telling you, the physical world, like I'm saying, you niggas, you're taking benefits from its existence is proof that you agree to it. And so when you say, I went and astral traveled with Oshun, I got my ancestors on me, what is that you're agreeing to? What is that don't try and make it, oh, it's everything, it's all this stuff, really. All this stuff, everything is one thing, don't do any of that. As a matter of fact, it don't do anything. That's a scapegoat. That's an escape. Because what that I is your personality. And the sooner you quit lying about it, the sooner you can get to work. The sooner you quit lying to yourself about the little shit that don't even fucking matter, the sooner you can get to work. Because you like to think, no, man, that shit ain't stopping me. Bullshit. Bullshit. Fuck around and find out, though. I'm telling you, bro, I do this shit. I do this shit. Whatever. Got a stew cooking. Hell yeah, nigga. Back there. Taste my stew. Look, got a stew cooking. Let me continue. Because I'm having fun. I may be triggered, most certainly, but I'm having fun. I'm having fun right here. Okay, continue, sir. Continue.
So, if we're dealing in the world of reality, in the world of spirituality, minus the particular religious construct, the concept is you're having a union between a man and a woman, typically, and you're having a union before your creator, before your, based on your belief system. And that's all the unification you need, whether it be before a priest or a rabbi or what have you. It is your particular contract, your covenant with the person that you love. But now, we take a step forward into the world of the statute system or the codified system. We have the let's pretend game, where you need to get a marriage license. You have to ask for permission to do something you would normally do based on your own accord and before your creator force or your particular religious or philosophical belief system, whatever that allowed for. But now we need to ask for permission from the man if you can have this relationship. Why? Because the whole system at large is predicated on commerce. It's now been boiled down to a business relationship. And if you don't think so, I've heard Jordan say this a million times, the first person that you're not going to see is the Lord. You're going to see the attorney, okay? And you're going to talk about who's getting what, and it becomes a matter of contract. So you have to get an application license to marry. So this is what we're operating in over here. We have a three-party marriage. Instead of just you and your wife, I guess it could be a four-party marriage if you're still incorporating the spiritual dynamic of your creator force. But now you have your wife and your husband and the state. And if it's an application for a benefit or permission, that permission can be revoked or denied. And then you get into this, the construct of jurisdiction. The state, if they gave you anything, they can come in and take it away or tell you what to do and how to do it. And then you basically have to live and operate under the codes that are prescribed that dominate the application for the birth certificate, etc. So, such things as application for the permission to travel freely, you got to get a driver's license. License, in essence, if you follow it, it's predicated on a system of business. Okay, I just thought that would be funny. Yeah, and the name is all caps, and we'll get into that stuff a little bit later. License is certificate or the document itself which gives permission, authority, or liberty given to or forbear for any act. So what we're talking about here is, anyone heard of just getting up on their own free will and accord and going somewhere because they just cared to do it? Or maybe it's a necessity, you need to go somewhere to get food and survive. You have an inherent system of rights that are bestowed upon you by the Creator. They're predicated on natural law principles. What goes up must come down, etc. But again, the world of admiralty, or the guys that are considered or interested particularly in one thing, how to extract the wealth and power from the energy sources, which are the batteries that are you. Because all money in society nowadays is generated a result of your potential and what you put into the system. Because Federal Reserve notes, they have no value whatsoever. They're backed entirely on the full faith and credit of the U.S. population. So without you backing these things up, they have no value at all. So in order for you to use this money in society, you have to get up and work every day and put something into the system. And what you reap, you'll sow. So
Dawson says the state owns my wife, my guns, everything. To the degree to which you've agreed to it. Right, what I'm saying, man, she ain't for the street, she for the state. This is the end goal of most women. To get a nice regular marriage certificate. It's not because something's wrong with them. It's ignorance again. But it's not even, the ignorance falls more on the males because you're agreeing to it and you can do anything. You see, we control the establishment of families. We control who's a bastard and who's not in our own communities. You know, you could start the line of whatever the fuck by yourself. Well, that's why family's centered around the male. Because the female is the vessel, the avenue, the mechanism. She's the thing that replicates the perfection that is the father. Look, this is, because, you know, I talk to males about the corporeal stuff. This is corporeal. I'm not telling you not to get married. I'm married. I don't have a marriage certificate. I have my own documentation. How would you even know what to do? How would you even know why to do? Because you see, it's not you that needs that license. It's the corporation that you're agreeing to pretend to be. You're agreeing to animate. And they can already presume that you're going to do that, 1913 to 1933. It's already been established that the presumption is in play. And so it's that needs the license. It's that needs the driver's license. But if you agree that that's you, if you act in its capacity, if you diminish your capacity to animate that, you created the law. Like, you're agreeing to it, and then you'll benefit from it. You'll ask permission for this, that, and the third. That permission you're being given is a benefit. So I've applied for this, applied for that, applied for this, applied for that. Well, you asked for it. Nobody tricked you. You could have done whatever the fuck you want to. But you asked for this. You gotta know what you're asking for, man. Correct the status agreement and mitigate the issues, or better yet, curtail certain issues. And then start from scratch. You know, like, look, because some people, this is how I know when motherfuckers don't know what they're talking about. They say shit like, authenticate the birth certificate. Why? Any authentication you do of that, you just authenticated the highest piece of evidence against your claim. You just authenticated the highest piece of evidence against your claim. It's a certificate, meaning that it's only certifying the presence of something else that happened. It's a symbol. It's pointing to something else. There was a birth registration. See, you talk about birth. You know, when I say birth, which birth am I talking about? The birth of a vessel, a commercial vessel, or the birth, a nativity birth? You know, so you're saying birth certificate. What are we talking about? You know, what are you agreeing to? What's the details? That could be. It could equally be a certificate of manifest. Manifest. Motherfuckers always want to manifest something. I tell you you don't even know how manifestation works. It could all be so simple. It could all be so simple. That's why I love law. It's so mechanical. God, and metaphysics could be too if niggas would openly debate or have a conversation about some shit. No, everything is everything. You niggas are dumb. Proof of human trafficking. Yeah, but then what are humans? So then why not? What are humans? So then why not? Because what are you agreeing to? There's a slave religion, a slave culture. What are you agreeing to? See, motherfuckers think they know the English language because they can speak it with a nigga down the street. You don't know the English language. You don't know the English language. This is right in front of your face. You don't know that, but you want to tell me you get all this spiritual shit. You get how this stuff works. You're comfortably ignorant. You're comfortably ignorant. Liberty versus freedom. Just remember, you're choosing to animate that straw man. Just like that personality embodied. You're choosing your agreement to that thing. It's a thing. If you don't know the nature of your predicament, you're not going to know how to not agree to it anymore. And so that's why I would emphasize comprehending the nature of your agreement. And the only way to actually do that is to be able to be honest with yourself when you don't understand something. If you don't even know how to tell when you don't understand something, you most certainly need to question what you say you understand. If you don't understand the mechanism by which you gain understanding, you need to reevaluate your understanding. I don't care if it's different from a Christian. I don't care if your whole your spiritual circle group is going to be like, oh, what? You know, that's not what we usually say. No. I'm telling you, there's more to all of this shit. And you're not getting it from these other niggas. They're not talking about it. They're saying the same thing and just passing it around and congratulating each other for passing the appropriate thing. It's the same thing you did in Christianity. You just got new colors on it. You just got new colors on it. See, motherfuckers will be like, hey man, fuck that crypto shit. None of it makes any difference. All this shit you don't know about money. All this shit you don't know about property. Because again, that money ain't your property, is it? And so if it's somebody else's property, they can do whatever the fuck they want to. And the fact that they haven't doesn't mean they can't. Tell niggas about the CBDCs. Niggas want to be like, oh, get rid of all governments. Okay, what you gonna keep? Money. Now, who control the money? And what difference does it make to control the money? Y'all niggas talking about chi and prana. Shut the fuck up. You don't know how energy flow. You just know it flows and it feels good to say this. Shut the fuck up. You don't know about systems and dynamics. And you could. See, that's the frustrating part. I'm not frustrated that the nigga don't know. It's that you could. It's that you could. Just a year. Just spend a single year. You don't have to spend the rest of your life. Do a single year and you'll be leagues ahead of anyone else. But that's just where you want to stop. But if you actually want to know, you'll get on track. You'll start to gain your bearings. You can't just go from video to video, person to person, trying to pick up this little information, and think you can put it together by yourself. And there's no one place you can go for all this. There's no book I can go tell you to get. No one person I can go tell you to look at. No. No. It's never worked like that. That's part of the reason you need other people. You know, you got to do the, I'm out here solo dolo, I have to do it all by myself. It sucks to do it by yourself. It sucks. Trust me. It sucks. Fuck out of here. It's like saying I don't have the time for XYZ while a person goes on to live an ABC life. It's what you're agreeing to. See, most people say they're content, and they're not content, they're comfortable with their discomfort. So much so that they don't recognize it as discomfort anymore. Bruh, we live the lives of slaves. And it's agreement. Man, I was halfway thinking about putting some of my fucking documents on here, but I was like, nah, slow down, bro, slow down. I've been drafting documents for years. That used to be the shit I didn't like to do. Now, I'd be looking for a reason to have to do something. It's funny as hell. But what are you agreeing to? What do you really believe? Because that's the thing. Like, fuck knowing the information. Fuck having the documents. What do you believe? If a motherfucker took all your documents, took all your videos, put you in a room by yourself and had you explain what the fuck you saying, what'd you know? What'd you know? If I told you can't reference anything Panic has said, anything I've said, anything Bobby Hemmett said, now tell me what the fuck is going on. Explain it. You ain't got nothing. You ain't got nothing. And that's not their fault. It's not my fault. It's your fault. It's your fault. More especially when it's right in front of your fucking face. 42. Donnie, what are you? Somebody get Donnie. What's going on? Donnie, you okay? Donnie, are you alright? I love fucking with Donnie, man. Liberty versus freedom. Because it is presumed you will act as that corporation and you agree to, you are given liberty and not freedom. Admiralty. Like motherfuckers who work on a fucking ship. Admiralty. You are given liberty. Liberty is not freedom. Liberty is not freedom. Anyways. Fuck me, right? The details. I tell niggas the details, but fuck areas. Fuck areas.
The system cannot perpetuate itself without you. So, what is the vehicle that is the courthouse? Well, the courthouse is a very fascinating thing. It's a primary facility that I like to call them chop shops, meat grinders, or wood chippers. But these entities or institutions or systems are the primary method or modality, or one of the primary methods or modalities by which your sweat equity is extracted out of you on a consistent basis. We take it from the ground up as something petty as parking tickets. Although parking tickets aren't particularly handled in court, they can be, and we'll talk about how you do that later. But parking tickets or traffic tickets, and traffic tickets and parking tickets are the #1 generators of indirect taxation or revenue in the state of California, period. If you look at the numbers, you will be appalled. So check this out. You have a courthouse, Masonic Lodge. Looks kind of similar, right? Courthouse, Masonic Lodge. You have a courthouse, and you have a Masonic Lodge. I'm just leading you somewhere. Okay, you have a judge, the Honorable Smiley, and you have his gavel, right? What is this? A Masonic gavel. So what I'm trying to say, and I'm not going to get into a big Masonic presentation here, I'm just setting you up, or to inspire you all to do a little investigation as to what the system that we're operating under today is founded upon. Who were the founders? Who were the founding fathers really? Were they a great bunch of guys, as we were told in our history classes? Or was there a greater plan? Was there a grand dynamic, the great work? What were they aiming to achieve? And if you do a little investigation, you'll find out that it's about one thing: business. So Judge Jordan mentioned earlier, judge rules from the bench, okay? This is the basic derivative. Bench in Latin, banc, and bank. And the judge is a banker. And if you look at the whole legal system, how it works today, it's based on banking entirely. Now, river directs the flow of currency. We're talking again the world of admiralty. It's about, money is often referred to as currency. And again, the court system is always after our currency. The courts are set up to regulate the flow of currency, and the entire court system as it operates today is a let's pretend game. And we'll take a look at this. The let's pretend game. Why is it that you have to file, you ever heard the term motion in court? You have to file a motion in court. Why? Because the thing doesn't exist unless you say it does. It's basically your paper soldier in the let's pretend game. You're yelling out, you're calling out to the judge, I'm filing a motion, because you're not dealing in the world of substance where you're communicating with parties openly.
That last party you mentioned there, I want to go into that because I want to give you a couple of different angles to look at this idea of a relationship with a court. Because mind you, once again, I'm just pointing out some of the things you don't know, some of the ways you could think about it. I'm not giving you the solution. First of all, I can't. Second of all, even if I could, I wouldn't feel inclined to do so. There's more to this. There's so much more to this game than I can talk to you about right here. There's so much more to this. The devil is in the fucking details, I'm telling you. But, like he just mentioned, the necessity to file a motion. Okay? It's a pertinent point. Why? Remember where I was speaking about power being vested. Okay? I got this jacket, right? Well, no, let's not use the jacket. Let's use something that makes a lot more sense here. I'll use this, okay? The power is vested in me by this document. This document gives me my authority, okay? And so I put them up. Now I have the authority. Look at me, right? I've been vested with power. But you can take this vest and you can give it to somebody else. So the power's here, but it can't animate itself, okay? So this is what you've been dealing with. You're dealing with the governor, the board, well, not the board of directors, that's completely different. You're dealing with the mayor, the city councilman, a public servant. You're dealing with the vested power and not the one animating it, okay? And so in a courtroom, All of them are animating a title. You are not. You are flesh and blood. You're the whole reason any of them convene at all. But if you don't stay in that capacity, or you don't defeat the presumption, then of course not. It's like, in Yu-Gi-Oh, they got the card game, right? Where you put the card on and it shows a monster, but really what it is the card. That's what you're dealing with. You sit here, you see the blue eyes white dragon, you think, oh my God, it's a real dragon here. Oh my God, you act like there's a real dragon, but it's a card. It's a card. And you go in and you, not only are you scared of the blue eyes dragon, you agree to be a card on the field as well, as opposed to somebody who's playing. You agree to be a monster card. You agree to be the weakest monster card. Because you don't know nothing else. You don't know nothing else. So you agree to be the weakest monster card there is. And of course you'd be scared of the blue eyes white dragon, but it's a fucking card. And if you could stand in your position as the motherfucker playing the game and not one of the cards on the field, it'd be a whole different ball game. It'd be a whole different ball game. This is why you gotta follow. Part of the reason you gotta follow motion, because it can't move of its own volition. It cannot move of its own volition. This piece of paper ain't gonna move of its own volition, because you have to animate it. And if the presumption is already that all this shit is going on when you walk in the room, it's your fault you don't know. Who the fuck told you to come in there? Because that corporation was summoned? Handle it administratively. What you mean? Exactly. This is why you get 30 days before your court your court hearings. 30 days. Time for you to do an administrative process. 10 days for each process, 3 processes. First process, second process, and third process. You do the first one because maybe they didn't get it. Second one because maybe they didn't understand. Third one, you got it. You can't deny it. It's like, and I'm going to get into this next analogy of how to look at this, okay? Ignorance of the law is no excuse. Exactly. That's a maxim of law. Thank you, Zohan. Here's another way of looking at this, okay? In terms of the summoning thing. At the end of Titanic, when the boat had sank and they were looking for survivors out on the water, right? The boat sank. Admiralty law. The United States corporation is bankrupt. The boat sank. And so what you have people doing, agents of the boat, people who work for that, who worked on the boat, all right, officers of the boat, are out searching for the wreckage. And they're just calling out into the darkness, into the open sea. Julie! Julie! They have the manifest that Julie manifested on the boat, but they don't have any record of her death. You find the body, that's a death certificate. Okay, so this person is in a room. They've got a manifest of the fact that, this corporation has appeared. Julie! Julie! And you go in and you animate it. Out there in that vast ocean, I'm over here. What bitch did she blow a whistle? I think she blew a whistle in the movie. Hold on. That's how she was. She had her breath here. You blow the whistle. Hey, I'm Julie. It's me. It's the same thing, because once again, the corporation is bankrupt. So you go in, you agree to be part of the corporation, but the corporation is bankrupt. So they're now litigating or administrating a bankruptcy. They're looking for assets to take back, to pillage, to plunder. It's the law of the sea. It's the law of commerce. I'm trying to remember the me I was before I knew any of it. And it was just like, oh, wow, there's so many things. Where do I start? And it's like, well, same thing I say with the spiritual shit. Start where the fuck you're at. Examine what it is you're doing now. Why you do what you do. And a lot of it's going to be, I don't really know why. I want to stop for a while. If you don't know why, stop for a while. When the shit comes, when the reason pop it ass up, okay, that's why I do this. Or learn some, look into some shit. Question, maybe you need to be impressed with how ignorant you could be. Maybe that's what niggas need to be, impressed with that shit. Because niggas love to be impressed about this, that, and the fucking third. I tell you what. Yeah, they don't know, they don't have anyone to animate that corporation until you agree to it. What's your name? Where do you live? They can already presume you're a slave, and you agree to it. But you don't know nothing else. And that's the mark of a slave. A slave wouldn't know nothing else but what it means to be a slave. The walls of ignorance are clear. They're glass walls. They're still walls. You give the nigga a feeling that he's open, he's free, he can do anything. But he's only going to do certain things. He may be unconventional, but only in a conventional sense. Typical. Don't want to cause no problems. I don't want any trouble. No. Yeah, that's most motherfuckers. The cowardly lion, your silent acquiescence, your comfort in your own ignorance. Fucking with all that shit, could have gone home whenever the fuck you wanted to, bitch.
So you guys ever heard the term circuit court? Circuit court, circuit courts, energy, battery, money, banking, electricity, gross national product. It's all about energy. What happens though when you interrupt the flow of energy or the currency flow? You break the circuit, right? Or you get charged. Okay? You get charged. Okay, what happens when you hire an attorney to represent you? Mr. Shyster here. Again, why do you need to get an attorney? Because the whole thing is a let's pretend game, because the attorney, if you take an analysis of it, we're dealing with attorneys, not counselors in law, not lawyers particularly. We're dealing with an attorney that's there to represent the certificate or piece of paper, the artificial person or the natural person that cannot stand and speak for himself properly, or the presumption is so unless you rebut it. So he's representing the artificial legal fiction, the reflection, the thing named the debtor or the borrower, because why? We're dealing in banking. You're there, most of the court cases or lawsuits are of and pertaining to money, are they not? Why else do you go to court? All crimes are commercial. If you look at the legislation and the codes, everything boils down to a dollar value. And in fact, I have, not with me today, I have a case, the president of Tyco, he was convicted in court, and he was awarded, or the sentence was like a $25 million fine, or the end result was like $25 million fine or something like that. If he didn't pay it, he was going to jail for life. What do you do? He whipped out a check, cut it, paid it to the court, and the game was over. He didn't go spend one day in jail because it's based on bookkeeping entries, the entire thing. So if you got enough money, as most of you have an inherent understanding, if you got enough money, you're not going to jail, because you can get lots of attorneys to represent that piece of paper, to make a deal with the judge, or to properly represent you, such as OJ, and get off. Okay, so when you hire an attorney, let's take a look here. An attorney occupies a dual position, which implies a dual obligation, okay? His first duty is to the courts and next to his client. So as an officer of the court, in any circumstance, he yields to whatever the judge's direction is, or his obligation to the Bar Association. Now, the Bar Association in itself is a whole other construct. You have local bar association, multiple constructs. You have local city, county, state, etc. But if you go to a website, it's called ordotempli.org, you'll find out that all bar associations hail from the Temple Bar, which is directed at the Inns of Court, that has a direct affiliation to the Ordo Templi Militaris, which is a Knights Templar organization. And that contract, that covenant to direct all bar associations on the planet is issued through what's called a letters patent. And you guys can look up that term later, but it's a contract that's set up based on the Knights Templar. Who are those guys? Those guys are the guys that founded what's known today as our modern banking system. So, in any regard, with respect to the court, if you hire an attorney, you're called a ward of the court. You ever hear that? As an operation of law, if you hire an attorney, you're considered a ward of the court. But if you look up the definition, a ward of the court, it's infants or persons of unsound mind. So how many of you guys hired an attorney and said, geez, what an idiot I was, get this guy. So if your if your attorney was an officer of the court and his first duty was the judge and he's giving him the secret handshake or the little sign, a little lapel pin shake, whatever the deal was with the judge, based on his payout or whatever the situation may have been, if you're convicted as a result of his lack of performance or conspiracy, you're going to be you're going to prison or jail where you'll be placed in a cell. Okay, a cell. A cell. But however, again, remember the concept. The whole court system, our whole monetary system, is based on ancient esoteric principles. Your body's energy. It's a vessel. Your body's a vessel. You have blood vessels, etc. And you're traveling on the seas of commerce. Not really, because we're on land, but they superimpose the world of admiralty on us. And anyone can verify this because the Navy has surveyed all the land in the continental United States. And there's brass cap high water marks in all the local towns and counties. So they've, in a let's pretend game, they said we're underwater right now. That's why they have jurisdiction of admiralty. And it's, unless you rebut that presumption of jurisdiction or the admiralty realm, it shall reign supreme.
You go in court and you see the fringe on the flag. You can even, on military officers, see that flag with the gold border. That's admiralty, military jurisdiction. It's admiralty. You go in there and they have the flag. They don't have to say anything. The flag says it. The symbolism speaks for itself. Your ignorance is no excuse of what you're agreeing to. Yo, what's up, bro? Just hopped in here. K Prime, good to see you in here, sir. Welcome to the chat. Yeah, what are you agreeing to? Remember, if you're a U.S. citizen, you're a debtor. What do I mean by that? 1913, Federal Reserve and IRS are created. Go into effect 1933. What you call the national debt, that's based on how Federal Reserve notes are made. You know, the Federal Reserve Bank, which is a private bank, prints the money and loans it to the United States federal government. And the federal government has to pay that same money back with interest, even though only the money they printed is there, so the interest doesn't exist. And so they'll always be in debt. Okay? So that's something that the federal government has done. The United States Corporation has done that. They're in debt. Okay? You, one of the people, walk in there, you're not in debt. But when you agree to be a U.S. citizen, you go under the U.S. government. You agree to go under the U.S. government and to be a subordinate. And as such, you can no longer question the national debt. See, that's where U.S. citizens become indebted because you're agreeing to it. You know, you're part of the crew on that sunken Titanic ship out here trying to salvage, that was the word I needed, out here trying to salvage some of the wreckage so that you guys can make a profit. Okay? You're the attorney, because it's not a lawyer, it's an attorney. The attorney is another officer of the court. All right, somebody who's animating another position as well, there to get you to acquiesce, there to get you to agree, because you got somebody else saying some shit and you don't know what to do. Yeah, and so you go right over to the cashier. Right over to the cashier. You either go to jail where they charge you and put you in a cell, make you a battery, so they get the money that way, or you go to the cashier. It's all about the money. But then, how does the money even work? Because look at it this way. If you're not a U.S. citizen, you're not the one that's in debt. How do I say it like this? How do I say it? No, because you using Federal Reserve notes implies that you're a U.S. citizen. Otherwise, why do you have somebody else's property? But that being the case, if the federal government is using Federal Reserve notes, okay, where do they get the authority to do that? How would that authority even work? You know, you see them make up bonds and certificates and shit like that. Like, how do they get the authority for that? Like, what kind of authority do you need to make that? All the authority, all the power they're vested with comes from the people. So it's some shit you could do too. But you wouldn't think that you could. What do you mean I could be a god? No, chill out, no. Oh my God. You diminish your own capacity. When you figure this national party ending, why am I asking? Never mind. National party. Oh, that's just coming to an end. Because they don't need it anymore. They can go global now. See, motherfuckers think, oh, it's the fall of Babylon, finally the rise of the melanated. No. No. The global order shifting. That's it. Same system. Just going global. Same system. Just going global. Niggas think this is the end of the fall of the white man. No. You're wrong. They don't need whiteness anymore because whiteness was a means to an end. It wasn't biological. It wasn't spiritual. It was a contrivance. It was a created thing. And so they don't need it anymore. I mean, you talk about one world order. It's about what are you agreeing to? That's the whole shit, man. Negotiable instruments. Negotiable instruments are an option outside of the script currency of the Federal Reserve. Yeah, because they use negotiable instruments. They use bills of exchange. They use promissory notes. Okay? You have to know how these things work. See, you talking about getting the bag. You talking about money. Y'all niggas talking about slave script. That ain't the same thing. But see, if the slaves, it's supposed to be the slaves are distracted and consumed by that. It's your ignorance that keeps you a slave. It's your ignorance. It always has been. And see, and this is the thing. He was also mentioning this as well. That the idea of this make-believe world has been superimposed over the world that actually exists. That's what's been done legally. All right? Like, for instance, Georgia and state of Georgia. Virginia and state of Virginia. Florida and state of Florida. California and state of California. A world has been superimposed over the reality that actually exists. And you're agreeing to the illusionary superimposed world. Which is the same thing I say about you niggas agreeing to humanity. The narrative you've embedded yourself in is something that's superimposed over reality itself. So when I say live lucid, I mean get out of the superimposed narrative of humanity. Your story. But if you only knew what I've been through, man, I've just been through so much. I gotta let people know. I don't want anyone to go through what I went through. Shut up. You're playing the game again. You're back into the human narrative of what's going on. This is what it is. This is really going on. It's like I said about the difference between being in and on. If I'm on Georgia, right? That's the land. I'm on the land. If you're in something, either you're dead, which your corporation is something that's dead, or you're agreeing to be included in something. It's like you can be in a bowling league. You can be, but you can't be on a bowling league. All right. It's what are you agreeing to? How are you framing reality? All right. You can do anything, but out of anything, what are you choosing? Because if you're choosing something that belongs to these motherfuckers, you're agreeing to be their slave. If you're choosing something that belongs to the United States corporation, you're agreeing. That's the only position they offer. It's a slave. There's no other position. It's the only position they offer. Okay. So if you're agreeing to be a slave. Period. So yeah, a U.S. citizen is inherently a debtor to the Federal Reserve Bank. And the evidence is that dollar in your pocket. Equity is created through our sweat, creative fluids. This can be stored, assets, or exchanged in an unlimited capacity, depending on your needs or the limits of your imagination. Well, it can be exchanged in an unlimited capacity because you come inherently with unlimited capacity to contract. You have God's law, man's law, and commercial law, okay? So I tell y'all niggas, primordial, non-physical, physical. I tell you niggas, it's a threefold pattern. It's always a threefold pattern. Anyways, God's law, man's law, and commercial law, okay? God's law is the inherent law of nature. Man's law is the law man's law is the law he makes for himself. Commercial law is the law that men make between each other, okay? You cannot supersede God's law. You cannot. It's what powers everything. All right. The same way commercial law can't supersede man's law or the laws of the land. Okay. It's what gives rise to that shit. All right. So you have to be able to see the stratification. Time, space, place, and plane. These are different things, and all of them matter. You know, it could all be so simple, man. It really could. You know, you want to talk about energy. Energy is a physical world thing. It is force. It is force versus particles, all right? Space-time is all talking, even quantum physics, it's all talking about forces and particles. That's illusionary physical world, all right? So we're talking energy. This is where we're talking energy. So I'm talking energy, all right? Because I'm talking corporeal shit. This is why I'm talking energy. This is where you're matrixed. But see, you're agreeing to do that shit in the physical world. I mean, in the legal world, and that's your big issue here is your ignorance. You niggas talking about they want to, go back to just doing what niggas was doing in the jungle. Go nigga, go do it. But see, you don't know how to operate. You don't know how to stop agreeing to what you've been agreeing to. You don't know how to frame reality, and thus you cannot fit yourself to it, which is your issue. The devil's in the details, kids. Always.
But if you might have the opportunity to pay bail. You ever heard paying bail? Okay, you might have the opportunity to pay bail if you've been placed in jail. Okay, bail. Okay, bail or bail. To bail someone out is to provide cash and get them out of prison, or more generally to help them out of a difficult situation. Well, I think going to court, period, it can be a difficult situation, especially nowadays. Especially a financial one, and we'll just go on from here. But after you pay bail, the court has concluded its sale on the high seas of commerce. You see where the etymology is going? It's just, we're dealing in admiralty, ancient Phoenician commercial law, as Jordan said. But everything you said and done, when everything's said and done in court, and you've discharged all your debts, you've paid your debt to society. How many of you heard that? Because everything is commerce, period. One of the first definitions of commerce is the exchange of ideas, concepts, philosophies, interaction, goods and services, etc. And then one of the other definitions of commerce is sexual relations. And I'm not kidding. So the byproduct of that is a commercial product where, again, you get the paper certificate and you play the let's pretend game. And how do they want you to pay? You're not using gold or silver to pay at the courts. I tried to pay them. They don't take the stuff. I tried to use all kinds of stuff at the courts, guys, but they want that Federal Reserve note product, a private product that's set up under a sham situation, 1913, set up the same time as the IRS, 1913, and there's some other agencies which I won't mention that were set up in 1913 too, which
I figured that was the end of the video. I just put too much audio on the. Let me make sure. Yeah. It didn't take the audio off when I rendered the video. So yeah, that's the end of the video. There we go. All right, I can see my sound. That's the end of that video. All right. Yeah, that was the Occult World of Commerce. Jordan Maxwell and God, I forget this other guy's name. Jason Whitey or something like that. I think that's his name. Jason Whitey. Bro, those are two names. I can give you names. There was a guy named David Clarence that motherfuckers love. I would really suggest looking up a guy named Yusuf Al. Another guy who was really good was what's this nigga's name? What's the Canadian nigga's name? Dean Clifford. Dean Clifford was outstanding. There's a lady you can look up on the internet. Her name is Angela Stark. She owns My Private Audio. She does podcasts where they have all of these different people who come in and talk about this shit. Bro, there's so many places to get this information, but it's not about going around and picking up different information. It's about your capacity to comprehend. It's about your capacity to know, to notice, to see. So you're only gonna get to the occult side of things when you develop your capacity to notice, to see. It's about what is unapparent. The ocular prefix. It's about what's unapparent. Okay? If you don't know what you're looking at, you don't see anything. And the whole representing, I was talking about that shit the other day. The whole representing shit with the attorney stuff. Like, you're sitting here, remember, I'm not the physical body. Your ass is sure hell representing that shit, ain't you? If I tell you imagine yourself, what you gonna do? Represent it again? Because you don't know how to stop. You don't know how to stop. I told you how to stop. I directed you from your own shit. The non-physical conception itself. It's right there, right under the surface. Right under the surface. It could all be so simple. It could all be so simple. Ignorance is a motherfucker. Ignorance is a motherfucker. And you have to acknowledge how ignorant you are before you can do something about it. You can't be impressed with your new learning. You can't be impressed. I have so much to learn in this shit. Like, even though I'm a nigga who's done so much more than most motherfuckers in this shit, there's still so much to learn. I'm still so far behind. Words, dictionaries, bro. Like, don't just look up in a single dictionary. Look at multiple dictionaries, man. I got all the Black's Law dictionaries. I got some Bouvier dictionaries. Bro, I have so many fucking dictionaries. Let me look how many dictionaries I got. Oh, I put them over here, didn't I? Damn, I did put them over here. I'm glad y'all can't see my screen. Where did I put that shit? Oh, no, I put that shit in here, didn't I? Drama files, dictionaries. Hell yeah. Well, there's dictionaries for all kinds of shit. Here, can I show that shit? Let me see. I can show that shit. Boom. There's all kind of shit. Hold on, how do I should be able to touch that. That's just not locked. Oh, it's because it's fucking red. That's why. Okay. Yeah, but this dictionary is for all kinds of shit. I can't even zoom in on here, can I? No, I can't. No, you can't see it any bigger. Wait, what's this? Nah, that didn't help. Oh, these are view options. Fuck you talking about? See? Nigga can figure shit out. A nigga can figure shit out. There you go. Yeah, bro, I got all the Black's Law dictionaries up here. I got all those. Cunningham dictionary, Bouvier. Bouvier is a really good dictionary because it's made by a judge. So you usually get some pretty good stuff out of there. I got dictionaries on commercial law navigation, law of trusts and trustees. The military encyclopedia is a nice one too. What's with you? Military, militia. Like, where do militaries and shit come from? Like, when they get the right to bear arms, like, you're supposed to be strapped already. You're supposed to. But if that's the case, and niggas don't know what they're agreeing to, how do you get a weapons charge? You got the right to bear arms, with ain't nobody saying anything about weapons. What makes the difference? Like, look, marijuana is a controlled substance. They don't say shit about cannabis. Why? They create an idea that they can control, and then once you agree that that's what you're doing, now you fucked. Well, it's not marijuana, it's cannabis. I don't even know what the hell marijuana is. But if you say you're using it, it's a controlled substance. Look, there's a Shubala Shama. Anybody who touches the Shubala Shama gotta go to jail right now. This shit don't exist. But if you walk in here and say, hey man, I touched the Shubala Shama, I'm taking you to jail. That shit don't even have to exist. I'm telling you. Noah Webster's 1828. I'm always telling niggas about this. There's an online version of that shit too. Noah Webster's 1828. I'm not saying get the oldest dictionary just because it's going to be the specialist. No. It's like you want to see how words how definitions of words have been expanded or contracted. Especially if you look in the law dictionaries. If you're doing Black's Law Dictionary. I would say look at the definition you find in the 4th versus the 7th. You know, how one of the definitions may be more expanded and another one's contracted. Since Bouvier was an actual judge, why is Black's Law used more often? It's more common. And I think a lot of law I think comes from English common law. Blackstone's commentaries is another big one that's really heavily used in the legal profession. And see, this is the thing, bro. Most people are trained to be attorneys. They're not trained to be lawyers. They're trained to be attorneys. They're trained to be officers of the court. They're trained on procedure of law. They're trained on procedure of law. They're not trained on the actual philosophy of law, the fundamentals of law. They're trained on procedure of law. They're paper pushers. They're paper pushers and swindlers. Fuck, man. Black's Law is still a collection of judicial opinions and definitions and commentary. Now, you also want to look at some of the older Black's Laws because they'll still have the case law citations. That's the common law, the case law. That's the shit, because this is showing you what the judges are actually ruling on, not what somebody believes might be the case. And not only did it show you what the judges are actually ruling on, they tell you why they ruled on it. When somebody doesn't get what they thought, if somebody does something incorrectly, the judges will even tell you what you did incorrectly. The case law is what you want. But see, in some of the newer editions, they pull the case law out of there, so they don't have those citations in there. And it can even be hard sometimes to find certain case law citations. But if you're looking for some shit, don't cite the statutes and the codes. That's for U.S. citizens. Go to the case law. Go to the case law. See, bro, there's so many details to this shit. There's so many details to all this stuff. And niggas swear they get it because they in a spiritual circle jerk somewhere, you know? Or they're comfortable with what they get because it's comfy to be in a circle. I gotta do nothing, just in this circle jerk. Oh, here you go, bro. Got you, man. Yeah, man. Check, fire. Facts. Double hand. Like, man, chill out, bro. Just because you feeling good and somebody's agreeing don't mean y'all doing nothing. You have to check your own capacity to notice, to learn. Learning should be fun. But there I go with some shoulda, woulda, coulda, fuck. Damn. Yeah, man. Check your own ignorance, right? Check your own ignorance. You got the shit in your pocket all day. All day. Well, I mean, I'm sure some of you niggas ain't broke like that. Why would you pay $3 for $1, right? Why would you pay $3 for $1? Because in 30 years, that piece of paper ain't gonna be worth the same. I got a whole collection of these motherfuckers. Not 2013 series $1 bills. I'm talking about, you know, like the old ones you see in the 90s on television? I got a bunch of those. They never changed the $1 bill. They never changed the $1 bill. They changed all the other ones because all those are denominations of this $1 bill. The $1 bill is backed by the labor of the U.S. citizens. And it's agreed upon. Like, all this shit's in black and white, dude. All this shit's in black and white. You can look on here. You can read. Because there are the different secretaries, the treasuries. The dollar is a measurement of silver, okay? Silver used to be the thing. They named this $1. This is named $1. It isn't $1. It's named $1. The planet is not Earth. It's named Earth. The Great Mother is female in name. See, like, I can say the shit, but if a nigga think he already get it, they're not going to ask a question. Stare decisis. There we go. There we go, Rafikael. Stare decisis. Yes, that which has already been established. All right. So you want to go to the case law and not the codes and the statutes. Codes and statutes can give you an idea of how things are being done. Or because, like, look, you can use the codes and statutes to find out what they're actually looking for. Like, the code says a shubalashah, a chimchomp, and a ding are all illegal. And you can do some shit. Well, I'm not a shubalashah, chimchomp, or a ding. You know, you can use that to help frame your shit, but you can't make that the foundation of your framing because it's still commercial law. Like, it's like using your human body to frame your non-physical conception of self. Your residual self-image. When I say, what the fuck is you? Your residual self-image. Just like Neo in the Matrix. You know, he's sitting there with Morpheus and he look like himself dressed in regular clothes. Yeah, what is you? What is you? What are you agreeing to? It's always the case. It's always the See, man, there's levels to this shit. There's so many levels, and the nigga think just because they're not Christian, that they're advanced, that they pushing it, that they doing something. And you're not. But hey, you know, fuck me, right? Whatever. Yo, this has been fun today. I had fun. I had fun just going off on a sideways place. Like I said, this was an impromptu episode. It was impromptu. I saw somebody else post the occult side of commerce. He just posted the audio, so I'm like, throw some of the video up here, you know, and they talk some shit about this shit. I'm telling you, bro, there's so much more to this shit. There's so much more. I can sit here and talk for hours, and it wouldn't even make a dent. And see, in law, people debate. People go back and forth. Fucking idiots. Anyway, I'm sorry. I appreciate y'all letting me have your Monday morning, man. Yeah, I gotta figure out my audio, but as long as y'all can hear me, it's smooth. It's Gucci. It's super Gucci. Boot camp is back in session. Sign the fuck up. Get on it. All right? Quit playing games. Unless, of course, that's all you're really here to do. If you're ready to just play games, don't even fuck with me. Don't even fuck with me. Donnie. But for real though, man, boot camp, I'll put you in a place where even if you don't fuck with me, you're gonna be more advanced than anybody else you fuck with. And then you're gonna be looking back at me like, bro, what's going on? I thought I told you was wrong to start with, but now you're still wrong again. I try to tell niggas. It's okay. It's okay. And see, I get voluntary servitude. That's my power. That's my shit. Voluntary servitude, agree to me. Let me in. See, you don't understand how you agree? You don't know how to stop. Oh, I love it. Agree to me. Please. I'm the ego. Fuck. Tell me what the fuck going on, massa. Shit. No, niggas don't get it. It's okay. Niggas ain't supposed to get it. All right, y'all. I'm getting the fuck up out of here. I appreciate y'all coming out, sharing some of this live with me. Hit me in the chat. Hit me in the comments. Please, anything I've said, give me the smoke on it. I do not mind. I will go back and forth. I'm here for it. You know where to find me. Make sure you check out Occult Corner Store and stop acting like you did it, nigga.